Hello everyone and welcome back to Groove Gaming. Today I'm going to be covering the newest Overwatch hero, Orisa. Now I was nowhere near the internet this whole entire day and I came home and I checked to see if there's any new gaming news, and to my surprise the newest Overwatch hero, Orisa, was announced. And I thought, oh, it's gonna be a while since until we get to play her. And then it was like, no, she's on PTR right now. So I'm like, oh my gosh, Olympic sprinting, I gotta go. So I managed to get in a couple games, and I thought this would be a nice opportunity to give you guys my first impressions on the newest tank character, Orisa, who was created by Ify Oladele. I believe that's how you say her last name. And I will just be covering her skills and what I have thought has been happening with the game with the introduction of Orisa. So let's get started. Now, I want to start off by saying that Orisa's skill set appears to be a mishmash of a lot of Overwatch heroes kind of pushed into one character. Now, I don't think that is necessarily a bad thing, because with Orisa, in my opinion, it was very tastefully done, and they picked very good skills, but kind of altered it to make it unique in a way, but it is borrowing some things we've already seen, but with just a little twist. And especially on a tank character, it's very nice. So we shall get into her actual skill set. Her primary fire is a projectile-based weapon, so it's not like an instant thing. You have to kind of predict where the bullets will land. And so far through using this in a couple games, I actually really enjoy the speed of the projectile. It could just be me, but I really enjoy some projectiles where there's a bit of a delay and not instant, because sometimes I have bad hit scanning and I can't really aim well. So with a little bit of a delay, I can kind of predict where things will go, if that makes any sense. And her secondary fire is a mini graviton surge that will pull enemies in towards its center. And I've noticed it actually has a fairly large range, and whenever it's in range, it will be a very faint green line connecting from the enemy to the actual orb. So look out for that, just to see the actual radius of the orb and its suction. And it's actually very, very fun, especially if you are on cliffs or near a cliff and you can shoot it out and maybe snag some enemies and throw them off the cliff and send them to their death. It's a lot of fun, but it does take some skill to get used to and can be a little wonky at first, but once you get the timing down, because it's not you fire and forget, it's fire, wait a little bit for the right timing if you're going for that, and then press it again to activate it. It will activate if it hits a wall, so keep that in mind. It won't just disappear and do nothing, it will pull them into that one source. Overall, I really enjoy it as a secondary fire. It's quite interesting. I feel like this would be more appropriate for an actual skill, but I'm not complaining. It flows very well with battle, and I have no complaints whatsoever. Her next two abilities are more of tank-oriented abilities. Her first ability that I will go over is Fortify, and this is more unique to Orisa. As I said before, there was some mashup of some things we've already seen, but still different in her own uniqueness. But this one is pretty much completely unique to Orisa, at least from what I'm thinking of right now. It will allow you to go invulnerable for any crowd control and also take a significantly less amount of damage, so you turn into basically a tank. And Orisa has 400 health, so it's not like she's like a Reinhardt who has 500, 600 health. The number's escaping me. But she does have a fairly large amount of shields, so it does reduce the amount of damage she takes from normal impacting blows. But with this ability, it's going to add almost like a invisible armor to her. It's more of just like a passive armor increase. It's very nice. And then her shield skill, I totally forgot the actual name of it. The name is escaping me. I'll throw it up on screen and I'll look it up and throw it up on screen. But her next ability that is more tank oriented is her barrier thing, like half dome barrier. She shoots out this little, I don't know what design it is, but she shoots something out. It attaches to the floor and it opens up into more of a half domed shield. It's fairly high and it kind of curves. So it's not in the sense of Reinhardt's where it's basically just a flat thing and it's attached to you and you move with it. And it also isn't as simple as a Winston bubble where you just place it down at your feet and you try to hide in it and shoot someone with your laser. This requires a little bit of strategic aiming And I can see where she can be a bit difficult in that sense. Like if you're trying to shield people, you will require some aim and getting used to the actual velocity and just like the actual physics of this little shield can get a little, it'll take a couple games, but after a couple games, you should be like, okay, I think I got it. And so that's basically her basic abilities, which are very, very nice. And they kind of flow very well with her overall theme. And I don't know, I'm really enjoying her basic flow of battle. Now her ultimate, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't blown out of the water by her ultimate. Like I wasn't like, oh my God, that's an ultimate. It does have major effects on the tide of battle, but it didn't feel like super, super unique. I'll explain. It kind of just feels like it's a Mercy Anna damage boost, but on steroids. And I'm like, okay, we've kind of seen that. And we have a lot of things that modify a character's damage and also how much damage an enemy takes. I would have liked something a little different. I'm content with it. Like it's fine, but I don't know. Something kind of just struck a chord with me with her ultimate. But then again, it is very strong and it does take a little while to charge up. And it will have great effect on the battlefield. So I'm very excited to see how this plays, especially in the new season and just in quick play in general. So it will be very, very interesting to see where Orisa fits in to the meta. Oh, I just realized I actually never explained her ultimate. Well, her ultimate is basically you put a little drum thing on the ground and anybody in a line of sight will get a beam attached to them and it significantly increases their damage. That's basically it. So yes, and now moving on to my more general thoughts and how I've kind of approached Orisa in my game time with her. Now with the general gameplay of Orisa, whenever I have chosen Orisa, which is basically every single time, and when I'm going on to either a point or trying to attack a payload, I really try to think about my positioning. Because her gun is so powerful at a distance, I try to take the higher ground if I can, because you can get headshots, and her gun is ranged, and it does a lot of damage, especially if you get headshots. So that's what I always try to do in the first place. Her shield that she places down is on a fairly short cooldown, and it does absorb 900 damage. So if I do happen to get the height advantage, I typically shoot my shield down, and I just kind of station myself there and try to pick some people off. I tend to go for supports first, as I tend to do in most games, because if you don't have supports on the enemy team, they can't heal. So pro tactics. But in general, she is supposed to be a more slow-moving tank, and this is emphasized with her actual gun. Whenever she fires, she is significantly slower. I wouldn't say significantly. I would say slightly slower, because it's not as bad as D.Va was. If you guys remember her previous implication with D.Va, she was moving very slow, and that just didn't fit well with D.Va. But I feel it fits very well with Orisa because she is very large and she is more of a bulwark type character with her shields and her fortifications. It does fit her character, and it will be a nice accompaniment with Reinhardt. I don't know. I've actually have not played a game with an Orisa and a Reinhardt on the same team. I'm very curious to see how that plays out. I would think it would be fine because Reinhardt I feel like Reinhardt would be the primary shield, which everyone kind of moves forward with, and if a shield is taking damage, Orisa can probably pop down a shield in front of it just to get some more, leeway and allow Reinhardt's shield to regenerate. Now with the actual game modes, I feel like Orisa has been very strong in both attack and defense and control points. I think she's a very well-rounded character. I have noticed that she might be slightly stronger on defense maps. I have no idea if that's like everyone's experience, but from what I have experienced, I've kind of won more playing on defense with Orisa. It could just be my team. I'm not saying it is. I'm just throwing it out there. And also, I've noticed that there has been a lot of Sombra play since Orisa has come into the game. I don't know if this is just by coincidence where people are like, oh, I'm just going to pick Sombra. However, with Sombra's large spread, Orisa is a very large character, so you're probably going to be hitting most of your shots, i.e. more damage, and also her hack ability. Orisa is kind of in a tricky state whenever she does fight Sombras, because she's really reliant on her actual abilities, because if she doesn't have any abilities, she can't tank, she can't protect herself, she can only fire, and her firing does do a bit of quite large amount of damage, but she is not an assault character, she is more of a tank. And with Orisa, she does not have any source of self-regen, so you are reliant on your teammates, especially Anna's, Lucio's, and Mercy's, not mercenaries, Mercy's. But with Lucio in general, I've noticed that Lucio pairs very well with her because of the speed boost. She is a very slow character because she is a Omnic and is a very large, lumbering tank. Not that there's a problem with that, it's quite fun. But with Lucio, with the speed boost, it's quite nice to get to point A and B and move a little bit faster while you're shooting. Plus the AoE heal is nice, just in general. And more focused healing such as Anna is really nice, especially when people are focusing Orisa because she is so large. She does have a large hitbox. So I would say be very wary of your positioning on the map and who is flanking, and also be careful of Widowmakers. They are ranged, and if you lose your barrier and you don't have Fortify up, you're kind of at the mercy of a Widowmaker because you do have a very large head hitbox, I have noticed, and it's fairly easy for Widowmakers and Hanzos to hit you. And even Zenyatta, in fact, Zenyatta can really do some damage as well. So in general, I would be very careful for Sombra in general, flankers, even tracers, flankers especially, any person who's flanking, be careful. And look out for Widowmakers because they will do quite a lot of damage. So those are my first impressions of Orisa. I actually think I might be maining her, at least in the tank category. I think Diva and Orisa will probably be my two favorite tanks in the game. I'm just loving her. She's so cute, and the origin story. I highly recommend going on the Overwatch YouTube channel and watching the origin story of Ify Oladele. So cute, so cute. So that is my first impressions on Orisa. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like the video, liked it. Comment down below on what you think and have maybe thought. If you have a personal experience of playing Orisa, and subscribe for more Overwatch content as well as other games, and I shall see you guys in the next video. Bye everyone. Mwah.